hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow. I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Get you out of my head. Get you out.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. Run my own way to get there. Fools are calling that I don't seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me the storm is coming, I'm sick of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks a beat at time, I cross the lines just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't leave a sign. That I try with a child's play in the rain. I feel like
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it to the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Hello, beautiful people of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode here today where we are going to be discussing TNA Genesis. Yes, there's only two of us because one of us decided, oh, it's too late. It's too late, even though it's 4 o'clock in the morning for me. But still, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I have to say, before we get into things, this was one of the best TNA PLEs, premium live events, pre-shows, post-shows, pay-per-views, all the P's put together that TNA have done for a very long time. But let me introduce to my co-host for this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let me introduce to you the champion of the world, Brett. How are you, my man?
Doing well, thank you. Damn, that was an intro. I loved it.
You can tell how tired I am by how random I'm going to get, by the way. We've got a few things here. Amazing intro. Yeah, of course, Bobby. You know me by now. Hope you're doing well. Astrid saying, hey. We've also got Ed saying, at least Brett is here. If Astrid can't be, absolutely. Ed is an absolute brilliant man. Exactly. Wake up. Hello, Bobby. Hope you're doing well. Mark, don't make me come and pull you out of the stream. You can try. You can try, but I will always pop back. I'm not even going to go there yet. Right. We're going to kick things off quickly of what happened at GCW. What happened was PCO was wrestling in a match over there with the TNA Digital World Championship. He won or lost. I'm not sure what happened in the match, but all I know is that he asked to have a promo at the end of the match, apparently trying to put TNA over. I will quote this in 2 seconds once I've decided that my thumbs work and I can read. Here we go. Following the match, PCO pulled out his TNA Digital Media Championship. He proceeded to smash it with a sledgehammer, though it didn't break. Weak. It didn't break. Those that we spoke to at GCW claimed that PCO went into business for himself. PCO grabbed the mic and started cutting a promo before the ring announcer, Emil J, took the mic from him and the GCW cut to a video. GCW claimed that they didn't know that it was going to play out like this and said PCO made it sound like he was doing something that was part of a storyline at the next TNA tapings. Their claim, they quickly became aware it wasn't. TNA sources that we spoke to the claimed, they were shocked and said he was supposed to finish up his next set of tapings in San Antonio. His contract actually expired at the end of the year. He is not expected back at the things stand. Before we get into the show, I want to get your thoughts on this before we move on.
I don't understand wrestlers. I mean, I feel like we hear a lot about the wrestling business behind the scenes and how people can be really childish more than we probably expect, seeing, the shows and idolizing certain people or becoming fans of people. You never know what they're like behind the scenes. I just think when situations like this happen, it makes that more true than ever. It just sounds like he thought he was creating a storyline or was trying to create an angle for himself is the only thing I can think of. But I don't know. It doesn't sound like a very smart move, and doesn't sound like he's going to get to finish out his time in TNA on a high note, at least, and ending things amicably in San Antonio this week. So I don't think he did himself any favors.
It's one of those situations where I look at and I go, he's 57. I've just Googled, by the way. That's why I'm looking down. He's currently 57 years of age. I presume he's coming to the end of his wrestling career. Unless you're Ric Flair, then you go to about 100, or if you die, that's the way to go. And you would have thought with someone with his age, someone who's been in the business, I know Bobby was talking about that he's seen him when he was in Canada as well, many moons ago as well. It's just one of these things that for me, for someone that experienced, shouldn't be doing something like, if it was a young wrestler, you go, yeah, okay, you're trying to create headlines for yourself, or you're trying to do something. But when it comes to someone like that, PCO, who was a standard bearer in TNA, has been there for many years, has got the Digital Media Championship. He had a big storyline with Steph DeLander and Matt Cardona with the wedding and all of the stuff that come with the weird ass yeah, you're old as well, Ed. You're 41. You're still old. If you're older than me, you're old, so it's fine. Yeah, but I don't, Bobby. I think you're right, but I think he's just ruined his chances with doing that now. With trying to do that, just weird situation to be in. I don't really know what else to sort of say on that as well. And also one of the things we're going to move on for PCO now. But one of the things I did find very interesting, and I want to get your take on this as well, Brett, is before Genesis started, NXT was tweeting and doing a big hype package for Genesis on their official account, and Triple H also, while the show was going through the live stage on the free part for the pre-show, he also tweeted about it as well. And a lot of people were saying they can't remember if AEW did the same thing. And I do think that WWE are taking this, and I'm not taking shots at AEW. That's later on. Because damn them. But I want to get your thoughts on this, not what happened during the show. We'll get through to the people that popped up. But your thoughts on so far? Are WWE really going to be fully invested in this, or do you think you just being wary of it?
I think I saw the Triple H tweet as well while watching Genesis. I also saw a tweet from Shawn Michaels, and I think from the social media standpoint, it's going to benefit TNA. I think from ticket sales, it's benefiting TNA. I think that's probably like one of the strong areas, but I am apprehensive in other areas. I think we'll get into that more as we get into some of the stuff that's happened at Genesis, but I think the social media part is one of the stronger parts of the partnership for both sides.
So let's get into it. Let's get to the pre-show. We kick things off with Busted Open Radio doing their conversations, and Ariana Grace has come out, and then Ashante the Adonis has come out, grabbed the microphone from her, walked down to the ring, and gave an open challenge. And it was met by Jake something, and he, let's be fair, there was a few chances where Ashante was in it, but Jake something absolutely annihilated him. It was good to sort of open up with the NXT. You've got Ashante the Adonis, who is someone that is going to elevate talent by the way that he sells. He is someone who's not very up in the card in NXT, but he has got a storyline going on in NXT right now. So that is a plus as well. What were your thoughts on Santana Morella's daughter starting things off, which, by the way, still can't get over? Amazing. Until someone pointed out several times, didn't believe them. What were your thoughts on this with Ashante and kicking things off with the pre-show?
Ariana Grace, I love. She's a fantastic character. We talked about last show, the connectivity with the audience and having a character that's either relatable or pulls an emotion out of you. I think she's one of the examples that does that very well. So it was nice to see her. And for the sake of being self-aware, when it comes to wrestling companies, I mean, I love all wrestling, but TNA is definitely my favorite company. But I was surprised, and it was a nice surprise to see TNA secure the win on their side. I know it's their show and it was on the pre-show, but I was actually a little bit surprised to see them secure the first win post partnership announcement.
Absolutely. And yeah, absolutely as well. John Cena did tweet about it, or Instagrammed it really, about doing the partnership as well. And Bobby Stats has also put a WWE partnership with TNA is better than the AEW. Well, time will tell. I'm a WWE guy. I will always be a WWE guy. But I will always be very wary. Maybe because we've been through the dementia era, if you understand my logic behind that, with a certain "you're fired" was around you. Always sort of got to be slightly wary about what goes on. But Triple H and Shawn Michaels seem to be doing slightly the right thing. Absolutely, it was great to see him to have a match as well. But let's get into the first proper that we actually did our predictions for. By the way, the predictions have been done that we've done before, and the scores have been calculated, which we will show at the end of this. I'm not going to give anyone away, but there is one person last, two people are tying, and one person is first. I'm just going to stay with that, with it so far. And then we're going to go on to Leon Slater versus Kazarian. Leon Slater is fastly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers in TNA by the way he just throws ball to the wall in his matches and just gives it his all. Kazarian, the perfect dance partner, I thought, in this type of match as well. And then you had Fandango. I'm not calling him by his real name. That will be his name from now on this show, because I just love saying it. Was on commentary. I presume that there's going to be a storyline after this. That's my thinking why he's in this. If there's not, what was the point? But Brett, your thoughts on this match and your thoughts on what you thought moving forward for Leon Slater.
Yeah, with Leon Slater, I think right now he's in a little bit of a tender position booking wise because he seems to be in pre-show purgatory, is what I'm calling it. And so far, he's lost his two most recent pre-show matches, this one and then against JDC at Final Resolution. I'm hoping, and this is probably the only way they could spin it into a positive for me, is that they start creating a story out of Leon losing these matches, because right now I don't see it going in a positive direction unless they take it that route storyline-wise. He's one of those talents they definitely need to invest in, though. We've talked about it on the last show with the X Division. There's really not a lot of believable talent that can, compete for the title and be in the title picture. And they definitely played to JDC's strengths by just having him sit ringside with his shirt off talking. So that was great.
Yeah. I was not expecting that last comment. You completely threw me there with it. But yeah, no, I completely and utterly agree with everything you said. They need to invest in him. He's still very young in his development, not only that, and age as well, even though I think they said in the TNA show recently that he's been wrestling for 10 years and he's only 20. Which is mental to be allowed in a ring at 10. So, I mean, just it is what it is. Let's hope they invest in him. He's English. Invest in him. That's the only reason. And also, his Swanton 450 is ridiculous. And Kazarian was the perfect dance. If you're going to lose, you're going to want to lose to Kazarian because he is the god of TNA, and he's also really put Leon Slater over. So I don't think this loss hurt him, but at the same time, he needs more wins, in my opinion, from that. Leon Slater is a future X Division champion. Absolutely. Well, talking of X Division, thank you, Bobby. We're going to get into the next match, which was for the X Division Championship. They debuted the new belt, and it looks like this. I'm not a fan of brown strap. Thoughts?
Well, yes. What I will say is I'm very happy that it's gold. That was a nice change, because I think that's something I've had a gripe with is the X Division. They constantly talk about how without the X Division, TNA wouldn't be where it is today. It wouldn't have existed. It wouldn't have survived, all that good stuff. But then I just always felt that like the world title being gold and the X Division title being that silver color, it almost made it feel like a second-rate championship when it should be up there and valued just as equally as the world title, in my opinion. But then, of course, they couldn't just be normal and give us the gold with the black strap. They had to just do something weird and give us the brown strap. I feel like maybe I'm being nice and choosing kindness, maybe over time it could grow on me. But right now I was like, it's giving cardboard.
Yes, thank you. It was right. I'm going to get graphic, and I really do apologize for how graphic I'm about to get. It looked like they had a white strap ready and someone shat over it. And they've gone, that'll do. I hate the brown. I hate brown strap. It looks horrible. But let's get into the match. It was Ace Austin versus the Moosinator. As you can see here, ignore the quality. Ace Austin versus Moose for the X Division Championship. I'm going to go with you first. Thoughts on this match?
It's one of those matches that I think I'm gonna have to rewatch it to appreciate the in-ring action, because going into it, I just can't get behind Moose as X Division champion right now. I think anybody that's involved in the system, it's just gone really stale on me. And from here, part of me wanted Ace Austin to win, because I think Moose needs to get out of the championship picture.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also feel that since he won, now it's like, okay, who is he going to defend against? Because Ace Austin feels like the only believable contender right now. And Leon Slater, they have him in pre-show purgatory. So unless they bring in somebody new, I don't know if there's anybody on the roster that would make sense unless they create a whole new angle. But based on who they've been using and who they have on the roster right now, nobody really comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I don't think this is one and done. I feel like that and we're getting into the problem now where the system are becoming the bloodline, where whoever the champion is has to have about 45 interferences for them to win. But what I will say, during the match, the choke slam from Moose onto Ace Austin onto the apron was horrible to watch, but beautifully done. How quick Ace Austin was going, the way the spear happened and he missed Ace Austin and hit Fandango was beautiful. And then the ending as well, with Moose picking up the win, was a little bit irritating, because I feel like they're now going to go down the rabbit hole of Ace Austin's going to be, I did lose one-on-one. We had the whole of the system there. You had Hannah Montana on the outside as well. I don't know whether you've understand why I call her Hannah Montana. Was when she was the tag champion, she was what with Masha Slamovich. She was one person, but then when she turned up with the system, she was a different person. So she was best of both worlds, and that's where I come to Hannah Montana. And now it's staying. NXT talent go after the X division. Yes, but do you want to put NXT talent inside the ring with Moose? That is the question. And I don't think the X division should be the way that Moose is or can't do. Technically can't do anything. That's the problem we're in. Can't talk on a microphone without me being bored. He runs like he's got chicken legs, and when he does moves, it's not believable. So for me, TNA have gone, Moose has been with us forever, let's keep giving him championships. Eddie Thorpe, yes, could be, but also Eddie Thorpe's character in NXT is really irritating me. Oh, yes. I want Rich Holland. Yes, I'll take that. A proper football player. No, you call it American football, even though I watched it earlier. A rugby player, the hard stuff that he was. But yeah, we're going to do this thing as well that we did before on this on when we done the pro shows before. We're going to give ratings out of 5 or out of 10 for the match. What would you give this match out of 10?
Out of 10?
What would you like to do? 5 or 10? I'll let you choose.
Let's do out of 5, I guess.
Okay.
I'll give it like a 2.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it because of the system interfering that put it down quite a bit for you?
I think that's part of it. I also just think that it's one of those matches that it requires a rewatch from me.
Yeah.
And if I can't appreciate it on the first run, it tells me that at best it's probably going to be decent, even if I learn to appreciate it on the second run. But if I watch something on a second run, it's usually to ignore storyline involvement and how I feel about it and just strictly focusing on in-ring action. But I feel like they're just in a very weird spot with the X division right now. It's one of those divisions that they're in a very delicate position. Unless I'm hoping, I think like my saving grace right now is that Mustafa Ali comes back into the picture. But if they don't have him, then I don't know who's going to go after Moose right now.
Please don't. Please
don't. Oh, no.
Please don't.
He didn't say that. He's joking.
Oh, I'm really not. I go full heel against Mustafa Ali. Full heel.
No.
Yeah. Full. Also, Ed, no, it's not a trade. Ace Austin can go between shows, but I want Rich Holland to win a title. So that could be fun. I'd like to see Rich Holland have a match as well, and also the people that are watching as well. If you're watching this and you watch the match, I know Ed may not have watched the whole of the Genesis, but I know Bobby probably has. Put your ratings in the comments as well. Keep that chat rate up and keep having conversations with each other in their comments as well, so more people can see what we're doing and they can get involved with. Next up, we're going to go to the next match, which was this is a nice transition for me. What happened at the end of the match, and they got a nice transition into this match, and it was the tag team match that we had that nobody really gave absolute care about. It was the System versus Eric Young and Steve Macklin. In this match, with Hannah Montana lurking in the background as well. The only thing I liked about this match was the transition from the previous match into this match. Apart from that, What is the same with you, or?
Yeah, I liked the transition, but and maybe this is just me trying to stick to like a routine and with it being a PLE or pay-per-view or whatever term you want to use. I feel like that type of transition would have worked better on a regular Impact show, especially where they have more limited time. It kind of felt clunky the way that they did it, because it being a pay-per-view setting, I feel like the entrances are that much more important, and it felt almost like it was rushed a little. That's how it came off. But then I think once the match got going, it was like, okay, that was intended. At first, it was like, was this like a mishap? So that felt a little weird. But then the match itself, I just, again, between the System being really stale and Eric Young and Steve Macklin just wanted to give each other props and a slap on the ass. I don't understand why they're together. Like, I don't get it. I don't know why we're here.
Well done, fella.
Yeah,
Well done.
like that's what it feels like. It's like
Good game.
Yeah.
Good game. Yeah, no, I completely, utterly agree with you on that. Same with the comments as well in the chat as well. Make sure you give us your thoughts as well. But also, while we talk about it now, give us your rating of this match. I didn't give my rating of the last match. I'm going to give it now. I'm going to give it a 3.5, just because I love Ace Austin. And it made me love him even more. That's the only way it got that. With this match as well, I'll kick things off. I'm going to give it a 2, because I think it's just didn't give a shit.
Yeah,
and also, I'm not going to lie. I got bored during this match, so I started more concentrating on the NFL that I was watching at the same time. Gonna be honest. Your rating that you gave this match.
I agree with the 2. I think that's fair. I think, again, part of it is the System being very much stale for me, but then also, unlike the X Division match, you're relying on that other team not making any sense. It's hard to create an argument for it being entertaining or enjoyable.
Absolutely. We've got a comment here. 2 as well. That's we've all gone surrounding the same. But next up, we had Botox by Elegance versus Spitfire, as Brett called it yesterday, which, by the way, I wrote down on my spreadsheet that I was doing as Botox by Elegance because it made me laugh way too much. Botox by Elegance come out as the Dallas cheerleaders, along with the personal concierge who was himself, and Spitfire come out. I'm going to let you go with the thoughts on this match first. I have thoughts on this, but I'm gonna let you go with this first.
This is where the pay-per-view picked up for me.
Yes.
The first 2 matches, I was like, if this is the tone for the rest of the night, I'm gonna be mad that I just paid for this. Because it just wasn't good, the first 2. And then even the pre-show, like, I was a little disappointed again with Leon Slater, but I won't dig back into that. But this is where the event picked up for me for sure. I think Ash did really well with being annoying. The little mannerisms, the things that she does on the outside, I think that's where she deserves a lot of credit, and it makes you want to see them get their ass kicked, and that's what her job is. And they did really well there. I wish we did see a little bit more from Heather in this match because I know she can go. She's displayed that a little bit here and there. I don't think she's displayed her full potential to the TNA audience just yet. But Danny Luna and Jody Threat, I feel like more so Danny Luna because she was more of a hidden gem for me, where like Jody Threat, I knew of her. But I feel like they kind of flew under the radar before they got signed, and there have been two signings that have been like an absolute blessing for the TNA roster. And I'm so glad that they paired them together because I feel like they were kind of like stuck in limbo before they got put together. And as a tag team, they worked so well together. Jody Threat's been looking incredible as of late, just like physique wise, the energy she brings to the ring, just with her intensity and move sets and everything. And in the spot with Danny Luna bringing Ash by Elegance from the apron into the ring to do like all in one motion, doing that German suplex was an impressive spot of the match. It was probably my favorite point in the match. It just really showed Danny Luna's strengths. And I feel like she, not to compare her to another knockout, but she, so many things that she does like really remind me of Jordan Grace.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I will say this was Ash by Elegance, best match that I've seen her in. It doesn't take a lot, but it was the best match that I've seen her in. She was really good with annoying the audience. The way that she was doing on the side, her in-ring work was better than what I've seen so far as well. A little bit annoyed we didn't get to see, like you said, Heather a little bit more, but Spitfire are on all cylinders right now. And this is a good question. This is a very good question from Bobby Stats. Well, I was going to ask this. We're going to go with this now. Well, I think we're going to get a rematch. I think that's probably going to be given. I think we're going to get another rematch between Spitfire and Botox by Elegance. Who should it be? NXT stars? Is there anyone? There's a few tag teams that you've got Unholy Alliance in WWE sort of not winning, and they went to NXT recently and lost again. Maybe they can pop over. You've got a couple of young wrestlers in NXT. Is there any women in the back that can be paired up and maybe do something else? Brett, what are your thoughts?
I definitely want to see Lash Legend and Chikara come over at some point. I think that's just a natural setup. But I think that that's only a temporary hold. Like they're only going to be able to do so much with the NXT talent coming into the Knockouts tag title picture, because the Knockouts tag title picture, or tag team division rather, in general only has two options between the champions, and right now Ash and Heather by Elegance. So TNA really does need to lock down a tag team or two, preferably two. But right now I think the NXT partnership, that's probably where it's actually going to help them out the most roster wise. But they can't rely on that for too long. And if memory serves me correct, I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like I saw Gail on Twitter at one point recently mentioning that tag teams were coming, or they had a plan for it. So I'm really hoping that that is the case, because they need some tag teams like on their team, on their roster, that they can create rivalries around.
Absolutely. Right. Rating out of 5 then. Chat, tell us what you thought. We've also got here as well, what about bring back the Hex? Yeah, I think that they were there at one point. I remember seeing them, and then they just sort of disappeared. The Tonga twins, no, Tonga Loa can't wrestle in the women's division, even though that'd be absolutely hilarious to see him try and do it. But what out of 5, what would you rate this match?
I feel like this match was a 3.
Yeah, I think I'd go with you on that one. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Next up, we had what was the Blood Feud. We're going very silent because this was match of the night. And based on in-ring work now, okay? Based on in-ring work, both women put absolutely everything into this. Superb. They both put all of the shots they can into it. We had a "fuck you Tessa" chant at one point as well, along with other chants that were happening as well. The outside spinning DDT that they did off the steps. The Tessa did a spinning crossbody as well, which I really enjoyed. They threw every single maneuver that they could fit into this as like a goodbye to Grace, and it was very much of, to me, this is what it seemed like. Don't hate me. Tessa's gone, okay, put everything you've got into this. Let's put everything we've got into this match. And I'm going to say it, this was match of 2025, men and women so far this year that I've seen. I think they had the irony of it all is they were the perfect dance partner for each other. They had the storyline was real. The match felt real at times. There were times where some of those punches were a bit stiff, and some of those slaps were a little bit stiff on both ends, which I think needed to happen as well. It needed that little bit of an edge to it a little bit more, because if you're coming in with a blood feud, you're gonna need to hit someone very hard. And I think both women did. I think Tessa, I haven't really seen Tessa in a match properly before. I've seen bits of it when she was previously in TNA, not really sat and watched a full match live of Tessa's before. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought she did really well. I really enjoyed the work that she did in the ring as well. Mixtures at some points of a babyface trying to get the crowd behind her or pissing off the crowd at the same time. You had mixtures of the crowd where people were chanting for Tessa and there were people chanting against Tessa as well. She was gaining reaction, which TNA will like from that as well. And Jordynne Grace is Jordynne Grace at this point, isn't she? It's got to a point now where Jordynne Grace turns up and you go, right, this is going to be a good match. I don't want to see Jordynne Grace in NXT. I want to see her straight on Raw or SmackDown. Instantly. I think she's got the package where I would love to see her on Raw and at WrestleMania have Rhea Ripley versus Jordynne Grace. My God, what a match that would be. But I want her to skip NXT and I want her to go straight up because I think she's got it. She's got everything about her. I know I've just been rambling for a few minutes, so Brett, I'm going to hand it over to you. What are your thoughts on this match and everything that went with it?
I definitely echo what you said about this being match of the night. And my takeaway from the match, too, was that despite the fact that I feel like the Knockouts roster is one of those that needs to get built back up to be as strong as it has consistently been year over year, it goes to show you how strong the Knockouts truly are when their roster needs strengthening and they're still putting on match of the night. And the Knockouts tag team championship match being the match that kind of built up the excitement, I feel like, for the rest of the card, the rest of the night. But this match, it definitely benefited from the real life drama, the real life hatred for one another, to the point that this is like one of the first matches I can really remember, at least for a long time, where the first few minutes I legitimately was just waiting for somebody to get hurt because I was like, they're hitting each other, and some of the moves they were pulling, like, you don't see that in every match. They were definitely taking risks very early on. It started off very fast, and Jordynne, both of them did a great job. Jordynne sold the Magnum like she died at the end. I think the very end of that match was fantastic selling. I would give it a 4.5 overall. The only reason I would knock off like a half of a point is because I think the ending, I don't know if it was like an issue with getting the turnbuckle off or something. Like it felt like
turnbuckle did not want to come off. All of the turnbuckle did not want to come off.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was that or like something got missed or whatever, but you could tell that they like at one point had to make up for it, and it kind of felt like it dragged to the finish, and then the finish itself was fantastic. But yeah, there was multiple times in this match where I was like, is she gonna get up? Like, are they all right?
Yeah.
But both did a great job, despite what I feel towards Tessa. But I think the only negatives coming out of it have nothing to do with the match. It's just more so moving forward to the future. I'm very worried that they're going to let Jordan leave and put Tessa in that spot. And now a lot of the women that have been there that have really needed rebuilding, like Atasha Steele has recently been rebuilt, Rosemary, are going to take a back seat to her. And I don't think that that's fair, but we also have to wait and see. I don't want to jump the gun on it either.
I think this is that's happening. I do think that was a goodbye to Jordan Grace in that match tonight. And I think that was the perfect way, to a certain extent, that it could have gone. It wasn't one of those that it was like, oh, Jordan Grace, she's lost. Oh no. It was like, oh, she's deciding to put a tape out there to show exactly of everything that she can do. And that Magnum finisher, by the way, is absolutely horrifically brilliant. That is brilliantly done as well. Rating, let's go out of this as well. I want to hear chat as well, your comments on what you think out of 5 that we're going to go for. I'm going to go with a 4.5. And I think this was near perfect. That turnbuckle did not want to participate in this match whatsoever. So that's why you could tell little bits were lagging in that bit. So I'm going to go and give it a 4.5. SDG is here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Nice seeing you from earlier on. And you coming in too here as well. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Brett. Okay, right, Bobby. There's something going a bit pedantic, and then there's that. A 4.7. Okay. Give it a 4.5 or a 5. Brett, go to you.
For the rating?
Yes.
So I would give it the 4.5. I think just that ending bit would knock it down a little bit, but other than that, it would have been a 5 out of 5 for me.
Perfect. Right. Next up, we've got not that. I pressed the wrong button. Next up, we have got, I think it's this one. Yes, it is. It is the I Quit match that happened as well. Brett, I'm going to hand it over to you first. And I want your thoughts on this because it had it all, didn't it?
Yeah, this was a really great match. I think this played to Santana's strengths very well. He got to show what he could do not only in the ring, but I think he got to pull the passion that I feel that he's had in his promos lately with his like personal stories and him talking about the recovery and him betting on himself. I feel like he was able to take from that and pull from that emotion and then put it into this match with it being an I Quit match. So I really like the fact that he took advantage of the stipulation and turned it into a strength. I think Josh did really well. As he always does. I mean, I feel like you could put him in there with a kindergartner and they'd have a great match. And I kept laughing though, because I forgot exactly how the ref said it now, but he kept being like, do you want to quit? So I just like, after the 4th time of him doing it, it was almost like he was just like asking like a friend for homework answers or something. It was like, do you want to quit?
Do you actually quit? Are you sure? Do you actually want to quit?
Yeah. But the ending was great too. With Santana, Josh being in handcuffs and Santana about to go for that curb stomp on the steel steps. But then Mike securing the win. And then that ending piece was great too. I was kind of shocked that they went about it that way, or Josh, saying that not only did he quit in the match, but he quit TNA. I wonder if that's going to play out anymore through the tapings that would take place this week. If there's like any ending or if that was the official ending. But with him and Jordan leaving, they definitely have spots on the roster that they need to fill. But I think they do have their replacements for those people in terms of who they're building into, with Tessa being Jordan's sort of replacement, and I think Josh Alexander's replacement is Mike Santana.
Yeah, there was one bit of this match that I despised, and it was the C4 spike when he stood straight back up. I hated that. right? That is there's it's like when I've seen clips of other wrestling promotions who shall not be named, that when they do the Canadian Destroyer 45 times, one after another, and no one's selling it. It's like, no one's kicked out of this move before. And he did a C4 spike and then just went, then he went full Hogan. "Oh, what you gonna do, brother?" When he stood up with his shaking of everything, and I was like, no. You were doing. Everyone was doing so well. You were doing so well. I was enjoying this, but it was really good. I've completely forgot about the LAX stuff with the balls in the bag. That's a funny saying, isn't it? Anyway, my brain at this time of night has gone well off course when I said that. Anyway,
I'm behaving.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm really, really trying.
Nothing came to mind. Also, the company that you mentioned with all the Canadian destroyers, was that the NWA?
No.
I'm just kidding. I'll stop being shady.
We're both going to bury promotions in this show that's not TNA or WWE at this point. You're burying NWA. I'm burying AEW. At some point, someone's going to have to come in and stop us.
I think they buried themselves.
Exactly. Fuck Tony Khan. So no, and what you could say is Josh Alexander took his ball and left.
Well done. I liked that. I enjoyed that.
Could you tell by the rambling I was thinking of something there?
I subscribe to that drama. I really do. I enjoyed that. That was well done.
Thank you.
We need a round of applause emoji in the chat for that. That was.
I'm here for another 20 minutes. Thank you. But yeah, no, I really like this. Part of me, this is when I started getting tired. Part of me wanted him to smash his head into the steel steps, but then I was thankful that he didn't at the same time. But I do think him going, giving Santana the rub. Santana's another one who could go after the X Division. Just thinking about it, that could be something. Okay, no, don't worry about it now. I come up with a night. He could be the digital media championship. Just turn up at GCW and get it out of the bin. Take PCO out with him. But no, we've got a few things here. Josh giving the rub, absolutely did. And then, can you name them? And we did. Then we tried to annihilate them. The company owned by Fulham English Football Club. Yes. Yes. And another one that Brett has tried to bury for the past couple of days as well, which is even funnier and better. Let's get into the next match, shall we? And it was one, surprisingly, I've deleted the fucking picture. It was the tag. I knew I would make a mistake if I was trying to be clever. It was the tag match. It was for the TNA Tag Team Championships, the Hardy Boys versus the Rascals. See, I can do both. Hardy. That looks dodgy as fuck. I've just realized I've looked into the camera or I've looked into the part of the screen, and when I've done this, it looks dodgy as hell. And then the Rascals. I hate that. It really annoys me that they do this. Anyway, I'm just going off on one now. Oh, did we even do a rating for that match? No. Let's rate it. I'm going to give it a 4.
I agree with that because it was still a really good match. I don't think it was the level of Tessa and Jordan, which is why I think Tessa and Jordan was match of the night, but it was still a very good match.
Absolutely. And we're agreeing. Right, chat as well. Make sure you put in your ratings down below as well, and we will get to that. But we're now going to move on to the Hardy Boys versus the Rascals. The Rascals have come out before this match and said the Hardy Boys are their idols, and to be in the middle of the ring with them was an honor for them. And you can tell that in this. And then the NXT Tag Team Champions of the world come down to the ringside and they watched. Your thoughts on Fraxium being in a TNA arena?
I saw a tweet and initially I agreed with it, but the longer I let it marinate, I was like, And the tweet said that they did not like the NXT Tag Team Champions being ringside for the TNA World Tag Title match because it made it seem like the titles were on the same level, where they felt the WWE Tag Championships are on the same level as the TNA. But I think the focus of the partnership is TNA and NXT. And NXT, if we're being honest, is the bigger brand between NXT and TNA, just from a TV deal standpoint alone. And then the fact that, of course, it's under the WWE umbrella. So I don't really view it that way. But I will say that while I'm excited to see them go up against some of the teams in TNA, them already booking a match against the Rascals and then making it for the NXT World Tag Titles, taking place on Thursday's Impact this week, I think that's where it starts to become a mistake. Because with a partnership, I feel like, especially early on, like we're still in the early stages of this now fully announced partnership, I feel like we want to see, or at least I do, I want to see matches like almost like your dream matches, or matches that you really want to see how the talent chemistry wise work together. But when you start to add championships into the mix, we know that the Rascals are not going to become the NXT Tag Team Champions. And I think that's where it starts to get convoluted for me. Like, instead of focusing on the teams and what type of match they can produce, entering titles into it this early on, I think, is a mistake. Where if they had the Rascals go over and then have a follow-up match for the NXT tag titles, I think that would make more sense, because it's like, okay, how are they going to play this out? Will they, pull a swerve on us and do the unexpected, or will they not? But I think just for the first match, already booking a title situation is a little crazy for me.
Well, technically, the Rascals are still number one contenders, because the last time that they turned up on NXT, they won a number one contendership match, and then it's sort of, they stopped doing it. So I presume what they're doing is they've won it, they deserve it, they got the opportunity on NXT, they haven't had it for a while. Let's give it, because if you haven't seen already, this is what TNA have posted. TNA Live, NXT Tag Team Championship between Fraxian versus the Rascals will be Thursday for that. And you're going to is this the show you're going to?
Yes, I will be going to the live show this week, and then I'm actually going to the taping the next day as well.
Look at you. We're going to need you to come on after that and explain what the live event and everything is. Yeah, you're not, I'm not getting rid of you. You're staying forever. You haven't got a choice at this point. But yeah, and let's get into the match. What were your thoughts on the old boys, the Hardy Boys, trying to keep up with the Rascals? And in my opinion, I thought they did all right.
Yeah, I think this was a solid match. It was pretty good. I would give it a 3.5, I would say is fair.
Yeah.
I do hope that this materializes into something more, because I guess the tag titles are in similar situations from the knockouts to the men's tag titles right now, just because it feels like the Rascals are the only strong enough team to believably beat the Hardys currently. I know at least they're not as in a dire position like the knockouts tag division, because they do have other options like the Good Hands, and there's teams that I'm sure that they can put together with certain roster members to bring into the fold. But I hope that this becomes a little bit of a feud rather than just a one-off on a pay-per-view.
There are so many tag teams in NXT that there could be some absolutely brilliant matches if the partnership does go. I would love to see Matt and Jeff Hardy turn up on NXT just once, and for them to help some of the tag teams in TNA, not only TNA, but in the NXT division as well. Would be really, really cool to see. And I think I agree with you with your rating as well. Give me in your comments as well, in the comments down below as well. Give us what you thought of the match and the rating that you would give for it as well. And then we're going to come to our final two matches for this evening. We're going to do one more match, and then we're going to have a little calendar, because I know that there's a few people here who weren't here at the start. So if you want to see what's coming up, for me, it's this week. But most of you, and that live in a time frame that's not 5 o'clock in the morning, then you will be able to see what's coming up next week. But we're going to come up now with the Knockouts Championship match. And it was the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. It was between Marsha Slamovich and Rosemary in a match that I despise, but got into it nearer the end. Not that the participants, but the gimmick. I hate this type of gimmick. Your thoughts on this match? I'm going to go with you first. What were your thoughts overall on this match?
I really liked this match. I think Masha thrives in stipulation matches, especially because of some of the matches she partakes in somewhat regularly on the independent scene. So she's well experienced in that realm. And Rosemary, I mean, she's no stranger to any hardcore related stipulation at all. So this was just a perfect blend of two. I think Masha referred to them as sickos on Twitter at one point, going at it. I thought this was another 4 out of 5 match for me. I think they had some really good spots with, Masha going through the tables at one point, Rosemary going through a table herself. Then they had the whole Janice situation. Rest in peace, Janice, because she snapped in half and broke her back. But I like that Rosemary, that's how Rosemary is a fantastic performer, because there was obviously no plan for that to happen, and she still found a way to utilize that and just keep it rolling, keep it going. I think I would have started laughing if that had happened to me and it broke.
Same.
And I would have not known what to do, but she just kept it going, and she figured out a way to still make it work and make it, look violent and dangerous with how she utilized it. I just hope Rosemary stays in the title picture. That's the only, again, not a negative about the match, just a more so a concern for the future, is that Rosemary belongs in that title picture. She belongs in the main event scene. And I'm just worried that she might get pushed to the back burner, because for a while she was on the back burner. And since they've reinvested in her, I don't think it's been a mistake. I think she's definitely proved that it's worthwhile. And she has a connection with the fans that just seems to never die. Even when they kind of did put her on the back burner, people still reacted to her. So she has an unmistakable bond with the fans. And I just think from her longevity to her character, she's also one of those talents too. And this really came to the forefront to me when they reshowed the confessionals tonight. Rosemary is one of those talents that you can put her in a last minute feud and it works, because she's just so good at her character development and just tapping into that and turning it into some sort of dark and twisted motivation to go after whoever she's going after, whether it be for a title or just a regular rivalry. She just makes it work on a very efficient but quick basis, and that's something I really appreciate about Rosemary as well. And I think it made the match work here that much better than it would have if it was anybody else.
Completely, utterly agree with you. I think that you had it. The only thing that I will say was a negative with that was a staple gun. I can't deal with that. That was too much for me on that end. And I do hope that Rosemary may not be in the title picture, but she's up there in the big, getting the big chances, getting the big matches moving forward. With it moving forward, but as we know the next opponent that will be for Marsha Slamovich. She come out at the end, and it was in our predictions. Cora Jade is now going to be a part of, however long it will be, the TNA brand, along with NXT as well. The new and improved Cora Jade, which I will say, I don't know if you watch NXT or if you're able to catch it, but ever since she's come back from this injury, she is much better than what she was before. She seems to have got little of the details that she was missing out on down. She seems to have proved a lot with her character work and her promos as well. She seems a little bit more believable, and I'm a little bit more sold on Cora Jade, but she will not beat Marsha Slamovich, because Marsha Slamovich proved tonight she's an absolute animal. Absolutely, SCG made an absolutely great point here as well. She needs to stay healthy. Before I give, absolutely, that is the one thing I will say, is I will always give people props, but they have to also be there for the long time. So hopefully she can stay injury free. Also, I have just noticed that the background looks like an X Division. Anyway, didn't even intentionally do that. What were your thoughts on? We all predicted it. We all saw what happened on NXT with Marsha Slamovich being there. Your thoughts on this actually coming to fruition?
Predictable, not surprised, but happy it happened.
Yeah.
I think it will set up a really good match between her and Masha and potentially a rivalry or program. I actually hope that that is the case, because then it means that they won't just shove Tessa and Masha into a match. I think with it being Masha's first Knockouts title reign, that's something that I've been concerned about before the partnership was announced, that with Tessa being in the picture, she would quickly get a title shot and maybe even secure the win, just playing on the history of the fact that she's the only knockout to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And, you know, them really buying into her. But I think this is going to slow the pace a little bit because they're going to prioritize the partnership over Tessa.
Good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm looking forward to this. It's making me want to tune into NXT. It's making me want to tune into TNA more. We've got the live show coming up Thursday as well. What I will say with the live show that's coming Thursday, we will still do the recording or a live show. We will not do it straight after the show. We will be doing it like we did on Friday. That's the normal time slots that you're expecting us to do. We'll be around about 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. Eastern. Around that time is when we're going to, because I work and because we all have a life. And so, unless you're Brett, where he just comes Hollywood on us and goes to all of the shows. And Astrid might be going on there as well. So I'm interested to see how this goes with that. On top of that, right, before we get into our main event of the evening, we're going to have a little ad break due to the fact of I need a drink and my voice is starting to die of what's coming up on OLE this week.
Please note.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin that the eyes seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of two clouds. So tell me this time is coming, I'm sick of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway. I never wanted to be alive, just to feel like I'm fading. And though my heart breaks, I'll beat it down. I crossed the lines just to tell you, don't lead the way, don't even say that I try with a child play in the rain. I feel like I'm fading.
Just quickly going to answer this question. How come, okay, now I can ask, how come this show's not on OLE Twitch? Is because we can only fill 3 voids. It's on my channel, it's on OLE YouTube, and it's on Astrid's YouTube channel. And hopefully, very nearly, once Astrid tells me how we can do it, it will also be on Brett's channel. So the Twitch sort of becomes a little bit of a back burner, unless we can do Twitch as well. And we can add more. So currently we're just prioritizing more of the people and Brett when we can get all of that detail sorted for him as well, to put it onto his channel as well. So that's why we're not doing it on Twitch as well. So yeah, it is not for the fact of if we could add about 5 or 6 different places, we would, but unfortunately what we use will only allow 3. So it would normally just, and because Hollywood Astrid has to have it on her channel, even if she's on it or not, then that's the reason why we're doing it for that. But yes, going into now, we're now coming up to a point where it is now the main event of the evening. It was, did you believe before we went into this, or did you think TNA were going to do the thing and not put it on him? Well, ladies and gentlemen, all I can say is we're now going to be discussing Dolph Ziggler now known as Nick Nemeth, going toe-to-toe with Joe Hendry, who said in a promo package on TNA before that he had to win this. He has to win it. And by God, did they put on a show. Brett, over to you.
Yeah, the main event definitely paid off. Joe Hendry's strength here. Always impressed by, but I feel like he always just pulls out something that makes me say, oh shit. Like every single time. There was one moment in particular where he had him in like a position, he was holding Nick Nemeth in a position where he could have just done like a regular body slam, and instead he put him on top of his shoulders and then threw him in the air, and Nick Nemeth reversed it into a famouser. Just like the strength that takes, and then even the flexibility on both of their parts to do that without getting injured is insane. So moments like that were great. Of course, we had Indiana Jones show up.
I was waiting for you to say that.
He did his 2 clotheslines, but then left and got his paycheck. And then Nick Nemeth kicking out of the standing ovation, I think, was actually really well done here, because even Nick Nemeth, if he lost it, took the pin after the first standing ovation, I think there wouldn't have been anything wrong with it. But I think they protected him in defeat there. And the emotion that came out of Joe Hendry after hitting the second one and securing the win, you could tell how much it meant to him. And I'm so happy they pulled the trigger, because I was worried that they were going to have Kazarian come down, which he did. But of course, he got clotheslined by Indiana Jones. And I was just like worried that he would end up like cashing in or whatever you want to call it and stealing Joe Hendry's moment. Even I was also really worried that they'd have Joe Hendry win and have Kazarian steal that moment from him and create a storyline out of that. And I was going to be like, no, please. There's been so much build up to this.
I saw you reply to a tweet when someone said that that they would do like the Dusty Rhodes when he won it at Madison Square Garden, and then just lost it straight away. It's like,
we've been blue balled for too long.
Perfect thing that is the perfect way to say it. It really was. Indiana Jones is now got on his Cape Crusader and he's on his way, not to the Lost Ark. He is now going, how many Indiana Jones titles can I fit into a sentence? I've just worked out, I've done about 2 then. He's now on his way now in his limousine to go to Monday Night Raw on Netflix, where he is advertised to be on there. So maybe, I don't know, something happens there with TNA because of what's been going on. Maybe they do it. Maybe they may not. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But STG absolutely loved. And the Temple of Doom. Thank you. I couldn't think of the other one. The famous reversal made him go, holy shit. And however, I feel like they should have done the Hendry title acquisition when he was. He still is. He still is. That's the thing with Joe Hendry. He is so good at personal promotion that I would not be shocked to see him in the Rumble, and I think we're going to see him in the Rumble. I think we are going to see him, and I think he will go face to face with the final boss. He won't, but that could be an interesting interaction. Him just turning around like this, and The Rock does the eyebrow. That would melt down the internet. But no, and I think they've done it at the right time. JBL coming out doing the clotheslines. Has the brother got an issue? Because when he keeps saying my brother, I wanted to slap him so hard that his mother would have felt it and didn't want to give birth to him again. That's how I felt. He annoyed me so. When he was going, I don't care about what Mark Henry said. I really wanted Mark Henry to world strongest slam him off the stage, just for fun, and probably kill him. But it doesn't look like his brother. He doesn't wrestle like his brother. What is the point of him?
There's 2 things that come to mind whenever I see him. One of them I probably shouldn't say. The first one, though, I will share is the first one is all I can think of is, do you remember that segment forever ago between Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, where Nikki was like, "You should have died in the womb."
Yes.
I, for some reason, just always am like, Nick Nemeth is gonna say something like that and get sick of him at some point. Yeah, he just, I don't know why he's there. He's there, but
Yeah, he's turned up. I think that's probably the best way to put this. What would you give this match rating out of 5?
I think I feel like it's been my number tonight for some reason, but it's an indicator of some good matches. I'm gonna give this a 4 as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm trying to currently do something in the background while you were talking. But yeah, no, I completely agree. But I think I'm going to give it a 4.25. It's not a 4.25, 4.5 because of Jordan Grace, but because we got this moment and then we got this moment, I'm giving it that because he finally done it. We believed. We've wanted this. He's been in NXT. He's going to go in the Rumble. He's going to go everywhere. John Cena's going to have a match against him at some point. He did say if he won the TNA World Title, he wants John Cena. I can see that happening for shits and giggles. John Cena does his open challenges that he wants to do it. So I would love to see Joe Hendry versus John Cena. The promos that could happen between them would be electric. But yes, that is my overall thinking of this. What about the moment he had with his parents going to go? Absolutely. It was brilliant. Him seeing his family, the British Joe Hendry, if he lost it for the Scottish, the British Joe Hendry. And it's good to see that the Brits are getting some recognition. You had Drew McIntyre winning the World Heavyweight Championship, only losing it for about 15 minutes when Damian Priest cashed in on him. And then now you've got Joe Hendry winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So a good year or so. And that 2024 was the year of Joe Hendry. And now we're starting off 2025 with him on top of the world. Before we're going to finish this up, and we do what we normally do at the end, we're going to go through the predictions. It's going to get interesting. So I'm going to go with Astrid's first. So this is how many she got right, and this is how many she got wrong. She got 3 wrong during the whole show with that, but that's it. This is Brett's. He only got 2 wrong during the show. He went Leon Slater and Botox by Elegance, but I got everything else right. I got the same as him, and he got 2 wrong. I went for the System, and I went for Ace Austin, but the viewers absolutely smashed it nearly by only going by 1 wrong, which was Ace Austin winning, which means the overall of the table so far in 2025, the start of this fun show, will come up with punishments if we finish last and rewards you get if you finish first. We'll do that throughout 2025. But this is now the points that everybody is on. The viewers are now in the lead with 9 points, and Brett and myself are tied on 8, and Astrid is on 7. And also we all predicted Cora Jade as well. So Brett, I want to give you what is your overall rating of the show, and are you happy being joint second with the second most beautiful man on the show with yourself?
Overall rating. Man, that's tough.
It is. I have a number, but I don't. I want to see where you go with it first.
I'm gonna say a 3.5.
Yeah.
The reason being is the pre-show I was kind of disappointed with the result. The first 2 matches, I was scared that was going to be the tone of the rest of the night. Was not invested in them really at all, unfortunately. It picked up at the Knockouts tag title match. We had a couple of matches that were 4s out of 5s for me, and the match between Jordan and Tessa was a 4.5 out of 5. But 2 of the matches that I think were, 2 of the better matches, being the Jordan Grace and Tessa Blanchard match and the I Quit match, featured people that are now not going to be a part of the roster. So I think that's the part that takes it down for me a little bit, is that we knew that going into it. It didn't affect the matches at all, the match quality, but I think it's one of those things that now it's like, okay, for the future, what are they going to plan? What are they going to do? And I understand like using those people to their strengths and using them before they head out, but it does affect the enjoyment of it, in the sense that like the predictability is very much there. So I think that's why it would be a 3.5 for me.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for I'm going to steal STG where he thinks you were going to go with the 3.75. I'm going to go with that. I think I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Leon Slater match. I enjoyed it all. The Tessa Blanchard versus Grace match has now set the standard bearer now for me for women's matches going forward in 2025. So they're going to have to live up against that, because that was phenomenal. But then we do know there's WrestleMania coming up, so that could be interesting. And we've got all big shows with NXT invading potentially. There could be a Worlds Collide where it's NXT versus TNA, that type of thing that we've got. We've got lots of things coming here in 2020. You are getting swerved here, just like when the Buffalo Bills swerved me thinking that they were going to lose. Fuck's sake, they won. And then the Eagles just about won today. But we will be discussing that on POV next Sunday for doing that. But we're going to finish off here tonight. This is quite good timing for us. We haven't rambled. Well, I've rambled. Brett hasn't rambled. I've definitely rambled. But Brett, I want you to let everyone know whereabouts they can find you, what you've got coming up, and yeah.
Ooh, all right. What I got coming up, I will be at the live show that TNA is or not taping because it's live on Thursday. I'll also be at the taping that takes place on Friday, so I'll definitely be able to share my perspective on here at some point, attending the shows live and then also watching it on TV, catching up. But you can find me on Twitter at It's Bretter. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Honestly Bretter. And then that Honestly Bretter on YouTube would be my gaming channel. And then I also have Honestly Bretter Wrestling, which is my wrestling related YouTube channel.
Perfect. Well, for me, you know me, I do Mark Talks WWE on X and Mark Talks Sport, and on YouTube on Mark Talks Wrestling. We've got WWE 2K24. We're finishing up War Games tonight. It was Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns versus Bron Breakker, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion versus the New Japan World Heavyweight Champion and the WWE UK Champion, to crown who is the best in the world at the moment. So that has happened today. So make sure you go and check that out. It was a phenomenal match. And then tomorrow we have got a debut of a new superstar. No hints there whatsoever. And on Mark Talks Football, we've got the FM24 save of the South Shields Football Club. Try and take them up to the highest position that they've ever had in the Premier League. So make sure you go and check that out as well. And I'm on TikTok, which has now been reinstated for all you Americans, which lasted. It lasted quicker. I'm not going any further with that. So make sure that you go and see that you can tell the jokes that could come with that. With that as well. Do you have a feeling the show's tape ruins the experience a bit since you know the results ahead of time, Brett?
I don't think I've ever felt that way personally, just because part of me is just appreciative that I'm able to get the live experience. And then I think that there's things that I feel in the moment that I don't forget, that then when I watch on TV, I'm like, oh, I got to experience in person, and it enhances the experience a little bit. But I also think that being able to rewatch the matches, there's some of the littler details that maybe because I get caught up in like the experience of it all, that I get to like kind of decompress a little bit and just take in the experience that comes across on TV and get the experience everybody else has as well, to see how different things are pitched. Also, depending on how they tape things, sometimes there's stuff that gets added in after production that you don't get at the live shows, depending on if they show it on screens or not. So I always enjoy seeing that stuff as well, because sometimes when you're at the live show, you're like, why is this happening? Well, seems like there's a missing bit here. And then when you get back and you watch the show, you're like, oh yeah, there was a promo backstage that we didn't see, or something like that.
Yeah, when I went to, this was many, many moons ago, NXT UK taping for the very first NXT show in Cambridge, We turned up, watched it all, absolutely phenomenal matches, and then I made sure I watched it. One, I wanted to see myself, and then two, to see the most handsome man in Cambridge, which was me. And then Brett turned up, and I felt a shit of myself. But then I saw that, and they add stuff, so you sort of go, shit, okay, I get it now. But TNA, if you're watching this, or anyone, please bring shows over to the UK. I would love to attend TNA shows if you can over in the UK. Same with NXT as well. Please bring them over here. I would love to experience that as well. But we're going to end the show here, ladies and gentlemen, for you as well. Yeah, exactly. But we're going to end the show here today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys ever so much for joining us today. It means the world that you've stuck around and you've been here for us. So this is the second ever episode of Making an Impact. We will be back next Friday around about 10 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to watch the TNA regular show that, we'll probably watch the live. We'll recap what happened with the live show, and then we will move forward from there, see if there's any more experiences. Remember as well, watch NXT. TNA could turn up in that as well, so make sure you tune in with OLED and Astrid immediately after NXT to experience that as well. So with love, with care, my name's been Mark. You guys have been amazing. And STG, why are you so nice to me in this show, but you're a dick to me when we do POV? That's just STG. He loves me, really. But yes, no, thank you, Brett. Thank you ever so much for coming on. You are an absolutely incredible human being, and I'm really excited to see what you do moving forward. And Brett will be back. This is not me killing him off. We will be back, and we will get his full thoughts without spoilers when he comes back from the tapings and everything moving forward. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys very soon. Peace.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let 'em burn it out.